Hey everyone, Pilot Spud here. Today we're going to be doing our flight from Basle, Switzerland, I believe that's how you pronounce it, to, we're going to be flying to Amsterdam. So flight time, we're looking at a total of, let's see, about an hour and 3 minutes, so probably at least about an hour. Let's see, flight level we're going to be cruising at 350, since it's not going to be too long of a journey. Weather, I think, is going to be fine based on the weather reports I'm seeing. So not too bad, all things considered. So I think everything looks good here. I got the flight plan printed out, so we'll be able to get started, and we'll be able to input the flight plan into the FMC. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and bring some batteries on. Get our nav logo lights on, strobe set to automatic. Bring this down. Alright, packs are on. Bring some lights into here. Sometimes I find that the integrated lights are a little bit too bright sometimes. So I like to dim them down just a bit. Sometimes it's a little too distracting sometimes. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our jetway connected. And let's get our power supply here. And at this airport right now, this is obviously Basle Airport, as you can see right here. So Mulhouse. So this is an add-on that I just got, so I really wanted to check it out because it seemed like it got really good reviews and it looks really nice. So as you can see, it's a really nice looking airport. I feel like the team that did this did a really good job. As you can see, obviously it's nighttime, but the detail looks really nice, and it looks just like how the actual airport is. And you obviously got your EasyJet, since EasyJet loves to fly here. Pretty much the only jets I see here is EasyJet, so might as well do our EasyJet flight as well. And of course I'm using the Braddock EasyJet livery. I actually, might sound controversial, but I actually prefer Braddock's EasyJet livery compared to Four Simmers. So I just think it looks really nice. I love the Neo on it, the new engine option logo on there. So I think it looks really good. So obviously we got a few add-ons running here, but I don't like to use too many add-ons just to make sure the sim runs as good. But some airports I've noticed have worked perfectly fine. So alright, let's go ahead and get whatever else we need. Turn that off. Switch that over. Okay. Let's go ahead and get all the good stuff started. So we are flying from chart here. Alright, so we are flying from Lima Foxtrot Sierra Bravo to Go Hotel Alpha Mike. That's gonna align us with our thing real quick. Obviously there's no company routes because it doesn't let you do anything. It's basically just type in what you need. Alternate airport today is going to be Echo Bravo Bravo Romeo. Flight number today is going to be U2337. Cost index for this flight today is 29. And cruising level is 350, and it should just plug in our temp and everything there, which is great. Awesome. And to init B, we have our block fuel set to 0, so we're going to go ahead and get the fuel truck over here and we'll get everything else started. So, and I'll actually be doing the full flight plan inside the FMC, because usually I'll do it in the main menu, but today I'm actually going to be doing it just like the real pilots would. Fuel supply. Alright, so while we get that, so obviously as you can see, we have nothing really here. We just have our two, we're from and destination. So basically we're taking off here. departure. We're going to be taking off runway 33, and we're going to be using the Torpa 7N SID, which is right there. Have to pop up, go ahead and insert. That should give us our few points. Go ahead, so let's just double check to make sure that's correct. Just give it some time to do its thing here. Obviously this is not correct so far. It'll start to adjust itself. There we go. Let's go bring up our VFR map. So it should have us come out and then kind of go around. Perfect. Alright, let's go ahead and get the other points plugged in. And so from Torpa, we are going to be using the airway UM624. And then from UM624 to LUL. Sure it's in there. Alright, so from LUL. Go to the airway UT60. T60, go ahead and plug that in, and that's going to take us to Giver, or Guyver, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, to Guyver. Okay. And from Guyver, we can go ahead, so then from Guyver we're going to go to UN. Fuel truck sounds like it's right next to me, so we'll be able to get the fuel pumped in real quick as well. So from Guyver to UN853, and then that's going to take us to Ibera. Ibera. Okay, let's make sure it's in correctly. Yes. Alright. And then we're going to go direct to BUB. Oh, there we go. Okay, so do that in a second. Alright, so our planned block fuel today is going to be 12,080 pounds. Perfect. So a little bit over, but can't really get in there too much, but I think that's more than enough for us. Alright, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. There's a fuel truck right there. Doing its thing. Okay, we can head back into the plane here. So we're going to select the first one, insert, and then from BUB we're going to the airway Y28. Open up our airways Y28. Plug that in, and from Y28 we're going to Helen. And that would pretty much bring us right into our arrival. And we'll go ahead and set up our arrival. So, alright, so that's finished. We're all good. So let's check the map. Always check the map to make sure. Once you take out departure here, come out, and then that should take us to BUB, and then from BUB to Helen, and then Helen is going to be straight into EHAM, but I'll see that we're not going to be going straight in that way. That just wouldn't make sense. Obviously, you're going to ILS 36 right, so that's the runway we're going to be landing on. Sometimes air traffic control will give you something else, but we're going to be hoping for this one. So let's go from, now we can select EHAM, and now it's going to have arrivals. So now arrivals, we're going to go to ILS 36 right. Amsterdam has a lot of runways. ILS 36 right. We're going to be going via river, not our tip. It's just going to take too long, so yeah, river right there. Put that in. And we're going to be using the Helen 2A star. ILS 36 right, via river. Star is going to be Helen 2A, insert. And as you can see, it has now plugged itself in correctly. So now river should be right there. So that's going to be our descent point right here. So we're going to have to be at about 10,000 feet here, and then as we climb in around Amsterdam, we're going to be 2,000 for the ILS capture. So it all looks good. It's going to be a nice quick turnaround right here, so it's going to be nice approach. And that is pretty much it. Our flight plan is set. Go ahead and return. Just double check everything looks good. As you can see, it's just that easy. And 636, I know for a fact, is going to be the glide slope interception, so we have to be at 2,000 feet for that. And then runway 36 right. Alright, we're all set. And it should have plugged in, it did, so 11.95 is the VOR, so let me pull up the VOR for our departure. To my charts here, LFSB. And let's get the VOR. VOR for us is, so for BLM it's going to be 117.45. And then as we get closer we'll plug in the VOR for the arrival and everything, but ILS looks good, everything's all set. Alright, we're looking good. So let's go ahead and get the baggage set, and let's go ahead and get our performance. We're going to be doing a flap 1 takeoff. Trans altitude for ball is 7,000. Alright, let's go ahead and get our calculations here for our V1 speeds. Just pull up my calculator here. So we're taking off runway 33. Temperature outside is 18. Let's go ahead and get our takeoff weight. Takeoff weight is 12333. So let's go do some math real quick. 123,333 divided by 2.05 gives us 55,933. Plug that in, and we get our V1 speeds. Looks pretty good. Okay, let's get rid of that. So V1 we got at 123. Our rotate is going to be 127. And our V2 is going to be 130. And flex to temp is 54. Engine out is fine. Everything else looks good. Runway 33, we're good. And then flex to temp is 54. And I'd say that pretty much does us. Just gotta wait for these guys to finish up down there and let them know we're ready to start. And the jetway got disconnected for some reason. That's strange. Alright, everything looks good. We're cruising at 350. Get that set, turn on constraints. Flight director, come on, VOR set. Alright, so for some reason there. Okay, I think we're looking good. Get a nice sunrise here. So should be pretty much arriving into Amsterdam right when the sun is pretty much, well, about an hour from now. Time right now is, I believe, around 6:30, 6:40. Okay, so we're doing good. I'd like to depart before 7. Funny how our doors open right there. Anyway, okay. I think we are ready for pushback. Speeds are set. Let's go ahead and get our APU started. Go ahead and turn our fuel pumps on as well. Listen to that APU start and running. Wait for the bail light to come on. We can start our APU bleed. Alright, beacon light can come on, and we are ready for pushback. It's nice, you can see like the interior of the airport looks really good. I feel like this add-on's really nice. There's some airports obviously that are better than others, and I feel like some of them I've had previously have caused problems within the sim, so I've had to get rid of some of them, which is unfortunate because I really do like having some of those add-ons, but for some reason it just doesn't agree with it sometimes. Make sure everyone around us is clear. Okay, go ahead. Engine Master 2 started. The sound of that engine start. Parking brake is set. Let's watch the N1 start up. Engines are stable. Let's go ahead and get engine master number 2. Sorry, engine master number 1 started. Flight control check. Everything's looking good. Flaps 1 set, ground spoilers armed, engine start normal, and go ahead and turn off ECU. I wish there was a cabin chime, man. It's like the one thing I wish they added, because it's all right here, but can't use them. One day, hopefully. I was hoping Bredock might have come up with something like that, since they're trying to get a little bit more fancier with their add-ons and everything. Okay, we are ready to taxi. I always try to aim about 20 minutes for setup and everything, make sure everything else is all set up correctly. Obviously there's certain flights require different, setups and everything, but we're doing pretty good on time. It's a little stuttery right now, but still running pretty good. Luckily for us, the runway is right in front of us. nice day for flying. Not a single cloud up in the sky right now. Set. Let's go ahead and get our altimeter set so HPA is at 1029. Landing lights can come on. Nose light set to takeoff. Strobes set. Putting our wing lights because it's not really cold to check for icing. Spoilers on, flaps set. Let's go ahead and get max auto brake set, and real quick. And as always, just like to double check, make sure everything's all set, and make sure we know what we're flying into. Okay. Alright. Let's go ahead and get rolling. Flying all the time. I haven't been on a plane so you always get that like anxious feeling before you're actually about to take off, right before you're turning onto the runway. Good for a rolling takeoff. Let's get our flex set. Right, can't even see where I'm turning. There we go. Let's go ahead and start. Let's go ahead and get flaps up. Speed set to climb. Now the plane is going to manage its auto throttle. Let's get autopilot 1 set. Shot right there, look at that. So the views coming out of early morning departures. Let's keep an eye on our, as soon as we pass 7,000, we're going to set our altimeter back to standard. And And the plane's trying to keep up to 250, which is part of our managed speed. And move up 7,000. Set to standard. Once we pass 10,000, and then we're pretty much cruising. Turn off our landing lights. Disarm spoilers. Auto brakes are off. Everything is set. Alright. It's just going to be pretty much a smooth ascent to our top of climb, and we're pretty much just relaxing. No bad turbulence or anything, which is good. I think we'll probably get some headwinds, which might slow us down a little bit on our cruise, but as we come in, it might be a little bit bumpier coming in. Based on the reports, I think Amsterdam is reporting winds at 110 degrees, so not too bad, but it is going to be a crosswind on the runway that we're landing on, so, but 10 knots is not really anything to really worry about. A little bit of a challenge, but nothing too serious. Interesting enough, some points don't actually come up on the display. Sometimes it does. I did a practice flight and it actually had the waypoints up, but sometimes it doesn't, which I've noticed. It's interesting, and that's why I wish it worked 100%, but sometimes it doesn't. Not necessarily it's just a Sobo's problem. Not really implementing correct things. Obviously you can see like things are glitched out right there, so like that's a waypoint that just never was not in there correctly. But the points are accurate, so it doesn't really matter, and I have charts so I know exactly where we're going, but as long as the actual arrival points are correct, care too much. As long as the main ones are actually set, like this one is correct, then I don't really have anything to worry about. And obviously all these points are correct, so. And the constraints are not necessarily 100, I mean obviously for certain points they're good, so, but I just follow the approach plates. So as long as I have that and the points are accurate for the descent, then I'm fine. So it's one of kind of like the downfalls of, you know, adding into the points yourself. You know, it's more realistic that way, but obviously there's like weird glitches and stuff that happens. As you can see, like this was a part of something, but it's like there it is, and then obviously you need to switch it back to arc. It's kind of cut off, so I don't know what's going on with that. And these should be labeled, but they're not. So very interesting. Obviously, if you type in the waypoint, it pops up. So that's Torpa. So that's our SID right here. quick can you do? All that matters is the plane's flying correctly and the points are the way exactly they're supposed to be in the flight plan. Watch that beautiful sunrise. Everything else is looking pretty good, so nice easy departure, nothing too serious. So I got the Four Simmers livery pack and I checked some of those out and it's really nice. It's funny though, but I just really like obviously the other Breedog liveries aren't as good, like especially compared to the Four Simmers, but I actually prefer the EasyJet one compared to theirs. I know they're releasing a couple more in the next couple weeks. They said it's like a free update, I think. So that'll be nice and I'll be able to do a little bit more. Or I'll just try to come up with different routes, but nice to try. I just love the sounds in this pack. Steady climb right now. Really nice. Everything's looking good. As for the wind, getting no wind reading right now. I think it's doing that glitch again, so hopefully it doesn't start. It'll probably kick in a second, and the plane's probably gonna start flying all over the place in a second, so that'll be interesting to watch. obviously there has to be wind because I got wind on the charts, so it's doing that glitch again. It always seems to be when I'm streaming. So I'm surprised there's no turbulence or anything. So we go and turn off the fasten seatbelt sign at that point. So while that's doing that, I'm going to check the charts to make sure that I start descending at the correct point. For the EHAM, we're going to be on the Helen 2A star. So at River, we're supposed to be at 10,000 at max and 7,000 at or above 7 and below 10. So we're doing good. So I'll say we'll descend to about well, the point there says 85, so I think that's actually pretty good because it don't want to be too high because then we're pretty much wrapping around real quickly in there. So basically, as soon as I'm at around 7,000, 8,500 here, I basically have to be at 2,000 at this point, so it happens pretty quickly. So we'll just keep an eye out once actually we start getting closer. You see like how those things are glitching out right there? It's like we're obviously way past. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I find it annoying sometimes. Whenever I'm doing flights by myself, I did a practice one and didn't really notice anything, so. And you see the sun's just coming up now. Nice sunrise. I like sunrise flights. Early morning ones. So yeah, I have some ideas for some other flights that I want to do, so I'm going to be trying to get, you know, ideas and where to fly and stuff like that. So I'm going to be trying to get hopefully when the Airlink one comes, that'll be really fun. I'll be doing a lot more flights there. I just realized that like EasyJet doesn't actually fly to Dublin, so I won't be doing any of those with this one. And I did a practice flight from Frankfurt to Dublin, and that one took about like over 2 hours just because there were some really strong headwinds, and I try not to keep the streams too long because it's just, you know, I like to keep them nice and short but long enough to actually enjoy the full flight experience. So I try not to keep it too long, but I mean obviously if I have more people watching, and it'd probably make it more enjoyable when people are like in chatting while I'm flying, it would make things a little bit easier. So if you guys ever want to just, if you guys want to see the live flight Twitch account that has the same name as my YouTube, so it's just SimPilots but no spaces on Twitch, and as soon as you follow that, you pretty much just get alerted that I'm live. You can just come in, watch what I'm doing, you can chat and just see what's going on, and if any questions, it'd just be better just to ask it live time, and I can give you a better response than just a written response like on some of my YouTube videos, which is fine, you know. Obviously, you gotta do what you gotta do, but interacting is always a little bit better. Or, you know, asking questions about stuff if you have any problems you're experiencing, because we'll have, you know, this thing can cause problems all over the place, so. So I wanted to do this one, and then I think after this I might do a flight. I'm still thinking about different places to go. I think maybe a really nice one would be, I might do another flight in America, since the last, these two are going to be, the one before this was in obviously a European flight, you know, Liverpool to Amsterdam, and this one's going to be Basle to Amsterdam. So I might try to pick another one. I might do another couple. I really, obviously when the Aer Lingus one comes out, we do a lot of flights, because I know where a lot of the airports Aer Lingus does fly, because I've flown some of them in real life, so those are really fun to do. And then I think for an American one, I'm not sure which one I want to do next. I have an idea. As I said before, I like to keep things short a little bit, so you know it's not too long for people watching. So if you have any suggestions, I'm trying to get those out. I'm trying to find routes to fly in and which airlines to use and stuff like that, based on real world, like, you know, counterparts of whatever the planes are using. Try to keep it as realistic as possible. Exciting on this side, whoops. Alright, so we are approaching, so let's see how we're doing on time. Alright, so we should be reaching our top. Okay, hang on a second. Since we're going to be reaching it on the miles, I don't think so. It's going to take way too long to get there. Let's just do it this way. I think it's going to start. There we go. By the time I even reach 35,000, we'll pretty much be having to descend, so. But managed climbing this is sometimes really slow. I've done flights where it's like really quick, so I don't know, but that's why I love the Boeing planes. They seem to just get up there super fast. But around that point, we're gonna have to start descending around this area right here. So that turn right there is that airway. I think it's BUB. So we'll probably have to start our descent probably around this region anyway, because we need to be at 8,500. So if we're at 35, then descend pretty quickly, I'd say. So I've noticed that flying in some European areas, it gets really kind of choppy, more so than it does anywhere else. I don't know if that's just a region thing, but usually when I do flights in the West Coast or like in any American route, it's really smooth. I don't get any real complications. Once you pass a certain altitude, the sim just runs super smooth, no problems, no stuttering, nothing. Here it's like when you switch cameras, it just gets super stuttery. It always freaks me out that the thing is just going to crash any second, because usually when it starts to stutter like that, it's pretty much a sign that it's like ready just to crap out. But I've noticed flying here, after I've done the few flights that I've done, it tends to get really kind of glitchy as you're passing over stuff, and then as you get into the your like arrival area, it gets kind of gets really stuttery, and then all of a sudden it just starts working really smoothly. So I think it's just the thing trying to cache the memory or something like that. Because I know like the rolling cache, whatever it's called, it basically stores like data, the points that you fly to. So if you fly in a region a lot, it doesn't have to stream stuff. It just loads the stuff that it's already streamed. So it doesn't have to stream every single time. So a lot of, I haven't really flown to a lot of places in the sim in Europe, so it's basically, I think it's just trying to load things in for the first time. But since I've done a lot of flights, I think San Francisco to LA and vice versa are like definitely is probably the most flown route I've done. Just because it's simple, it's fast, you get practice in, and it's just really fun because you get to use pretty much everything really quickly. So you have to do all your procedures really quickly. There's no like long waits or anything like that. So you see like the transitions right there are pretty rough. Alright, so let's just slow down. Whoops. There we go. Yeah, as you can see, we're going to be just starting our descent pretty soon, so we should be reaching our top of the climb. That blue, if you're all wondering what this is, that pretty much means you're going to be reaching your top of climb right here. And then there should be another white arrow that pops up along your start of your descent, but that's not 100% accurate. This is accurate, but the one where it tells you need to start descending is not really 100% accurate. So we don't want to get too below, because once you start getting below, once you hit about 230, the plane will start to do like this up and down type thing. Cruising for a little bit, probably about another 5 minutes, and then we'll start our descent. And then we are gonna have to be, so at River, which is right over there, be at 8,500. Still haven't got any of that weather yet, so should be doing like it did before. It might just pop in any second, and then the plane will probably just start doing that thing like it did the last stream. I've noticed that it's only when I'm streaming. When I'm doing practice flights, it never happens. It has to be something to do with, I don't know, something to do with just the internet use or something. So I'm using the highest bit rate for the stream so I can get as best quality as possible. So it might have something to do with that, since this sim relies super heavily on the internet. So if your internet is like acting up at all, or if it's a little bit slower, you might encounter problems and terrain loading issues and stuff like that. So that's why this thing requires like you have like NASA type internet speed, it seems. Even the PC players struggle with it, and they got super decked out specs, so that's why they're surprised that the Xbox can run it as well as it does most of the time. I'm still surprised that it runs it as good as it does sometimes. Obviously it has its hiccups and problems. I haven't had any recent crashes recently. I think the last crash I had was I flew to Zurich and that airport seems to be heavily, like, loads really heavy assets or something, because when I landed there, it landed fine. When I was parking at the gate, it had a problem, and it crashed right when I was getting the jetway connected to the plane. And then I spawned at it for another flight that I was going to do to practice, just to see if it was good, if it was going to be good for the stream or whatever. And didn't even get, same thing, connected the jetway, started the plane up, and then it just crashed again. So something to do with Zurich is just like not really working there. So there's certain airports and it just seems like it just doesn't load things, or it's just too much of a headache sometimes. So that was the last time that happened. But mid-flight, I haven't got any crashes. Never crash ever mid-flight. It's usually when you're at the airports or you're about to come in, but you can usually tell because it'll just get super laggy and it'll just like stutter and freeze, and then it just boom, that's it. You can definitely tell right before it's about to happen. And also another thing I've noticed that people have been commenting, asking like, oh, the displays will just turn black. So that is a problem to do with Series S. Since I'm on Series X, I've never had that issue. It actually happened when I remember, I think it's happened to me twice, but that was back when the sim first came out to Xbox and I played it. I did some flights and it actually happened, but it only happened once in the Airbus, and it happened about a few times in the Bredok 737, but I think that's just a 737 problem. But at the same time, it is a known problem with Series S users, so I think Asobo is aware of it and they're trying to fix it, but as always, it seems to take forever to get those things rolled out. So if you're ever wondering what's going on, yeah, it's just, everything just turns black, so you're pretty much flying blind. And I've seen some people, I'm in the Xbox community flight simulator club, so I've seen people post videos and stuff saying where they've done like an 8-hour flight, and right when they're coming in, the thing turns black. So that would just be so annoying to happen. If you're flying for that long in real time, right, you know, everything's running good, you set everything up, you're having fun, then right before you're about to land, all your electronics go off. And it's like, imagine if you were flying in IFR conditions, that'd be it, you couldn't do anything. So I understand the frustration, but yeah, it's apparently a thing in Series S, which is really unfortunate. I don't know why it seems like it's probably just been getting worse since it's been out. Okay, so now that we're getting closer, we should probably start to set up our approach, because we're going to have to drop. So in probably the next 10-20 miles we're going to start our descent. So let me just make sure that I have the codes and everything correct. So I'm going to EHAM. And let's get the VOR. So the VOR for Schiphol is... See, I'm telling about that stuttering thing. It only happens when I'm doing flights in Europe. Runway 14, that is the Schiphol VOR, and the ILS frequency is correct. And let's just double check our, let's see, the ILS localizer. So we're running on 36 right. And check our, yeah, 36 right. Okay, so ILS, we got 101.95, and at the M636, we need to be at 2,000 or at about 3,000 to capture the glide slope, so not too bad. And then transition altitude, trans altitude for Schiphol is 3,000. So I'm going to set that up. So I'll get this set up when we're actually descending, and I'll pull up all the information for that. Those are set. So as you can see, 8,500. So we're gonna be coming up to that. It's about 100 to 110 miles away. Alright, go ahead and, oh, right when I said that, it switched to, switched to the descent phase. Okay, so fair enough. I guess that kind of works out. Let's go ahead to, whoops. Fasten seatbelt sign on. And starting our descent. Sunrise coming into our approach, which is going to be nice. Sim looks good at times. Looks good all the time, but we get those moments. Alright, let's go ahead and get our approach phase set. Alright, so let's pull out the information. So Amsterdam is reading, so the wind's changed. I don't think it's going to make any difference since we're not actually getting any wind information. It's gone down a little bit and it's changed, shifted a little bit, so it turns out it's correct. So let's pull up the chart and see. So the decision height is 198. DA is at 430. Temperature at Schiphol is 2 degrees. And the QNH is reading at 30.47. Okay, pilot 36 right. Everything's looking good. Approach phase is set. Let's switch back to my units. HPA. Okay. So that pretty much, so that 30.47 is 1032 for the HPA. Getting ready for our turn. Nice look of everything. Doing pretty good for time. No wind, but at the same time, it just seems like whenever I get no wind indicate, like the weather just doesn't exist. No idea why. It has something to do with just streaming and playing this at the same time. Getting really close to where we need to be. It's strange, I don't know why. Getting something there. There we go, getting something. I don't know, that's really weird. Ready to line up here. Doing some pretty good speed right now. And we'll be at 8,500 in there, and then pretty much starting our quick descent straight in. Now we're getting some wind readings. Maybe it's just a case of turning the live weather on and off. As you can see, like, it starts to get kind of smooth once you start getting to a certain area, but Nice shot. Yeah, I mean, I think the EasyJet livery is pretty good. I really like it. But obviously, Four Simmers has better, like, you know, quality for sure on the other ones. I really like the other ones that they've come out with. Just really wish they had like a combination of the sounds from Braydock, but also the quality of Four Simmers. I think we'll be onto something. They'd be doing really good. But one can hope eventually maybe the Asoba will update the sound of the A320, which I don't know, I highly doubt it. Guess we'll see. Looks really nice. Alright. Getting pretty close to where we need to be. Slip a little bit. So now 2,000. Just need to be 85. We're pretty much almost there. Don't need to be coming in that fast, and then basically a slow descent to here. For below 10,000, we're going to turn the landing system and then our lights back on. Terrain landing system. There, it does look really nice. You got like all the wind farms down there. It looks really nice. Port, more of the motor. Should increase our speed a little bit here. Just to 250. That's interesting. Well, that one popped up. It wasn't there before. Long waiting pattern just to hold here 85. It's really slow, super slow approach, but I have to do it that way. Should be coming up on it pretty soon. Should be landing in the next 10-15 minutes, I'd say. Yep, 2000 is the point we need to be at, or around that, and then we'll pick up the ILS and just glide right in. Nice terrain though. I like it. It's a really nice approach coming into here. So I figured I'd do it again, but just from a different departing airport. Too early, but that's fine. We're gonna be holding here. Rather be a little bit early. At least we can not have to worry about this really quick approach in. As you can see, it pretty much just like it loops right in. So I had to slow down quite a bit for this one. Just make sure that the altimeter is up to date. So when we pass below 3000, we'll be fine. Still, yep, 1032. So let's just set our thing to 2000. Okay, 3000 might be fine. 3000's good because we'll pretty much catch it before we even line up to it, probably. So just leave it there at 3000. Oh, it's already starting to do it. Hold up. Nice shot coming in right over this factory area, it looks like. Pretty much no wind at all. Just for picking some up on the side, but it's not really bumpy. Picked up now. .6 miles away from the VOR, which is right there. So we're basically going to hit this point, fly directly over the airport, go out, and then come back in again. All set up, crimp spoiler is armed. Everything else is all set. Also taking into account, so it's going to slow us down a little bit too since we're coming in on this turn, so we're going to add an extra few miles to that turn. I think 500 is good for now. I think that's the airport right there. So we're doing pretty good. It should be a nice easy approach since there's not too much wind right now, so it shouldn't be bumping around. A bit when we start heading into this turn, start slowing down for prepare for the first set of flaps, which is below 220. 250 is good for right now. Flying straight over the airport and then loop it back into the runway. I think it's alongside this guy. I think that's the start of it right there. So we'll be hitting that one. obviously stuttering. Since we're getting a little bit closer to the airport, it's gonna start loading in a little bit more assets and everything and stuff. So as soon as that stuff loads in, it should be a lot smoother. Slow down just a bit. Start anticipating our turn. There's the airport right below us. Get a good look at Amsterdam Airport, coming right over it. And this is the runway we're going to be landing on right here. It's just a slow descent, and then as soon as here, this is pretty much where we should be capturing the localizer. So it's gone away right now, but should come back. There it is. Okay. So just maintain our current descent rate, and we should be good. We'll slow down a little bit again as we're coming into the turn. We'll slow down to about 220 to initiate the first set of flaps. It's a really interesting approach. Never done really an approach like this where it's very quick in turns, but it is really cool. At 3000, we'll switch the altimeter back to 1032. That height difference is not really going to be accurate right now. Let's just have it down to 2000 anyway, but we should be capturing it any second now, so we'll just stay here. We should be good. approaches so far. Since we're a little bit low for it, that's fine, because basically as soon as we line up, it'll drop back down again, so as long as we just maintain 3,000, we're fine. And since the airport is about 10 miles away, we can go ahead and switch to our managed speed as soon as we start to come out of this turn. That should drop us down to about 200. We can go ahead and get the first set of flaps. Nice smooth descent in. It looks realistic at times. Besides all that glitch and stuff going on right here, but you get the idea. Alright. And we're about to line up here, so we'll go ahead and start the approach mode in a second. Go ahead and arm it, capture the glide slope, which we have. Let's go ahead and start our second set of flaps. Everything else is set, speed brakes are set to low, everything's good. It's going to be adjusting itself here.
2,500.
Let's go ahead and drop flaps 3. And we can also drop our landing gear. Turn on runway turn lights, taxi lights on. Once we hit about 1,000 feet, I'm going to fly it manually. Getting rid of that crosswind, but it's not too bad. Let's go ahead for flaps full. I have control. We're in. That crab technique going on here. So it's kind of lining up a little bit better. There we go. As we get close to the ground, obviously, straighten it up. Should be approaching minimums, which we are, so continue.
400. 300. 200. 100. 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Retard. 5.
Reversers. We're on decel. Below 40. I'd say pretty good time minutes, so probably about an hour-ish with a few minutes to spare, I guess. And also with all the setup phasing and everything like that, so not too bad. Let's go ahead and get our gate. And it's been a while since I've used these taxi ribbons. Usually I try to read the thing, or the taxiways and everything, but I just find it's just easier like this. And also you get the marshals and stuff too at the gate, which makes it a little bit to guide you in and stuff too, so. Gates right in there next to the KLM 737. Prepare to stop. Alright. Let's go ahead and get the gate over here, or the jetway, sorry. And go ahead and go for engine shutdown. Beacon lights off. Alright, and let's get the bag set. Power supply thing always makes a funny noise. Alright guys, well, I'd say that was a pretty good flight, all things considered. It's the first one that I've done where I've actually inputted the flight plan into the FMC directly, so that was really fun. So I'll probably be doing that a little bit more and getting a little bit more practice with that, making it a little bit more, realistic and a little bit more fun that way, and hopefully you guys can learn something too from all that stuff. Obviously it's not 100%, but I mean it's pretty close, I would say. So, I mean, gotta work with what you got, so. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed it. I should be uploading, as much as I can. With my schedule is always changing, so I try to find the best days where I can actually get a good video out and, try to keep you guys updated with what's going on. So as always, just when I upload these things, if you guys have any, comments, questions, or anything about what's going on, just let me know and I'll get back to you guys. And make sure that you guys have any questions answered and stuff, and I'll try to be getting everything out. And make sure that you guys follow the Twitch as well, so you get the notification that I'm live. Since I can't really do it through YouTube and Instagram, I am very active on there as well, so you guys can follow that as well. But without anything else, I would say flight was successful and everything went well. So alright guys, I will get this up and going, and I will see you guys in the next video, and as always, stay safe and happy flying, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Alright guys, have a good one.